This is David Cowen live from the UDF Lighthouse Customer Forum in Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm with Russ Elmer, who is the Chief Legal Officer of ServiceNow. Big announcements here at the forum, but more important than getting into those right now, which we will get into, I really just want to jump into the soundbite or the hallway conversation, the smash up that you had with somebody, unexpected, ad hoc. That's like, aha, that was a really interesting exchange of ideas. What was that for you over the last 48 hours?
For me, it's been actually talking to different customers here about what they're actually doing. And the one that was an aha moment for me was listening to folks talk about how they're using it in the IP space, how they're using UDF to help them reach out not only within their own groups, but also across the engineering organizations to kind of look at what the engineers are up to be able to look for ideas for inventions and patentable kinds of things. And it was an aha moment for me that not only can this technology help within our own group, but it can actually reach out cross-functionally across other parts of the organization to help pull information, to help business partners who don't understand what they're supposed to be looking for to do it for them.
For me, what came up was, and that's a great takeaway. I liked that one as well. My macro takeaway here, though, is that the tools and the technology that we talked about here, the framework of thinking, is going to allow the CLO and his or her team not only to get in an elevator and go up higher, but get on a walking sidewalk and go left and right.
Exactly.
It's
the left and right.
It's left to right outside the organizations. Wait, when did legal become the hub?
Yeah. Which
now captures insights that were heretofore never possible before. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Exactly right. I think it's, as we're starting to think about technologies that go horizontally across the enterprise, I think that is a wonderful way for information to get pulled in and used in a way that gives insights that haven't been visible before. And I think the legal department can be a hub because because everything comes through the legal department one way or another. We reach across so many different parts of the organization, whether it be HR, engineering, finance, all of that information flows through legal. And legal is almost uniquely postured to do that because fewer parts of the organization get to dive into the substance of what every other part of the organization is doing more than legal. And if you've got, and legal has been on a technology island for so long that the technologies that they're using are purpose-built for the legal department, but not for anybody else. And so therefore they don't cross across. And so so legal gets the information, but only kind of anecdotally. Now that we're getting platforms that can look across the organization, cross-functionally, and talk to other parts of the organization, I think it's a unique time that I've been doing this for 30 years, and there's never been a time when technology has been so fit for purpose.
Lacey and Omar talk about the concept of bundled and unbundled, and Jim Barksdale and Clayton Christensen talk about there's two ways to make money in the world: bundling and unbundling.
Exactly.
And so I think law firms over the last, and so the concept goes like this, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Over the last 40 years, law firms have bundled and bundled and bundled and bundled and bundled, right? And rightly so, all kinds of services, which, were the billable hour, which was a great model for a while. It's like, well, I need you on privacy, security, governance, M&A, corporate finance. It's like, we're the smartest minds. I need, this was smart work, right?
Yeah.
This was knowledge work. And so all of those knowledge workers wound up, in a law firm or a consulting firm. And so in the legal space, let's bundle that up. Let's offer tax services. Let's be international. Let's grow into a $2 billion company. Absolutely smart. Technology comes along and says, why would you bundle all that? All of this can be unbundled. This access to information, knowledge, not judgment, we're just short of judgment, but not too short.
Yeah.
We're unbundling.
Yeah.
And what's left is really smart taste, judgment, relationships.
Context.
Talk about that a little bit, if you will.
Yeah.
Because that's where we are.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think that's what so there's so much information out. There's so much technology out there that can pull information together. But what we're finding is that if you want to take action with it, so there's pulling the information together. Information is almost becoming more commoditized now with the development and incredible fast pace of the way this is all playing itself out. But what it doesn't give you is context. And if you don't understand the context, then you can't take action on the information.
What you had me thinking about before was legal has historically been reactive. And now with access to information and access to insights and this digital brain concept, you'll be proactive and strategic.
Correct.
That's the elevator for the CLO and his or her team.
Yeah. And that's like that. So that example that I gave at the very beginning, being able to reach out to the engineering organization when they don't even know what the questions that they're supposed to be asking, or they don't understand the context in which they're supposed to be thinking about information. Now I can do that and I can pull it in. And so I can be, again, as you said, I can be a hub.
Yeah, but what you're really doing, right? If we highlight this a little bit, is what you're really doing is driving revenue, driving
Absolutely
profit.
right.
You're driving profits for the company. You're growing the company.
This is a recurring thing that we're having. It's an ongoing conversation that we're having in our own legal department, which is legal becomes a force multiplier. Legal is not the bottleneck. Legal is not the toll that you have to pay in order to get out. In fact, legal is a force multiplier.
Yeah, I think that, help me frame this up a little bit. There's vertical AI, right? So this Harvey and Lagora and vertical AI, and that's fantastic. And,
It is fantastic.
LLM wrappers on, wrappers on LLM. That's great. This is a different kind of AI.
Yep.
How do you describe this AI that UDIA is creating and moving forward with on this next frontier?
I've always said, from my initial conversation with Omar, I saw that UDIA seems to get it, that what we're trying to get is outcomes, not just information. Like, we're trying to get to the end. So we're trying to get, it doesn't matter that I've got every contract that I've ever done at my fingertips if it doesn't help me get this next contract done. And I think what's really great about what UDIA is doing is that the team has been so practical. That's what I've always said. Every time I thought about UDIA, I thought practical. It's practical solutions based. And in fact, even when we talk about the partnership with ServiceNow, it's about getting it's about that partnership of the information of the brain and the action. Kind of, I've said, you can have a brain and the brain can think wonderful thoughts, but the brain can't do anything without the arms and legs to get stuff done. So this combines the brain with the arms and legs.
I talked to Lyndon about the brain, but let me hear it from your point of view. What is this brain? And what I really heard yesterday was we're going to be able to take the nuances of all of these decisions that I make, and we're going to be able to capture them. Like, do you want to talk about how we capture that, or do you just want to talk about, I don't want to talk about the how, I want to talk about what I'm going to do with it once I have it, which is really more interesting. It's not the how. It's like, okay,
what am I going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. So what I am going to do with it is, first off, I'm going to take whole loads of work and make it so that my people, my human beings, never have to see it. So all the contextual answers, all the questions that come in, the thousands of questions that come into the department that are just routine questions, can be taken off of everyone's plate. And then what I can do is really empower my team. So I've kind of talked about it that, I've got a legal shared services team in India. And rather than just looking at redlines or redlining documents and making a report about what the redline is, those people now can be empowered to negotiate contracts by themselves. So I've got a legal shared services team that now they are more empowered. And I think every part of my organization can become more empowered to do more strategic work. And when you talk about this force multiplier concept, everybody becomes empowered to help us move the organization forward in a bigger way. And so even from the more junior attorneys to even from the more junior attorneys, they can make real contributions to the business and start to make real strategic contributions.
Is all of this going to sit on a dashboard? What's the access point for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think no. I think the access point becomes kind of whenever one of the things that we're trying to get to, and one of the things that we're trying to do with the ServiceNow partnership is that you can get it from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So however you come into it, you can, and you don't have to necessarily see it. You don't have to know how it's all working in the background. You can just know that you can go in and you can put my document in, see what the suggestions are, see what comes out, and then take the next action.
And those documents are influenced by the expert intelligence that's been put on top of it early on.
That's right. Exactly.
Are you going to be that expert intelligence? Like, so are you going to have a digital twin? Is that how
Yeah,
this will work?
absolutely. Yeah.
There'll be a Russ
Absolutely.
Elmer digital
There
twin.
will be a Russ Elmer digital twin. And actually, I think a smarter Russ Elmer digital twin.
Say more about that, because that's, I think, what happens after what happens next. It's like, okay,
I think
great.
that's right.
Here I am, and now the AI is going to go like, by the way, did you know there's a better way to do that, Russ?
Exactly right.
That's
exactly
fascinating
right.
to me.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to that as well. So, I run a small business, but, there's certain things that I do, and the way that I do them, the way that I identify, engage, and develop speakers for Solid.
Exactly.
The way I identify, engage, and develop speakers for the Cowen Cafe every Friday at 1:00. There's got to be a better way, right? Like, it's a good way, right?
Yep.
It's a really good way. The community loves it. My community is growing. We've got a category, but it's sort of like loading the dishwasher. I'm a pretty good dishwasher loader, but I can't believe that I can't save 5 minutes a night.
Correct.
4 nights a week. That's 20 minutes. That's 80 a month. That's 80. I mean, I don't know. That's a couple of days of dishwasher loading that I can improve.
Right. And I think the same is true for everybody. And I think also too, I'm a very smart guy, but I'm only smart based on my experiences, my information, all the things that I've done up to date that have informed my perspective. Now let's look at what's going forward. And I think one of the things that AI can do is help Russ be Russ 5 years from now.
Oh, well, it's 5 minutes from now.
Or 5 minutes from now even, right. Yeah. One of the things
iterative improvements.
Yeah. One of the things we've been thinking about, my team has been, hey, let's imagine our legal department in 2030.
Yeah.
What is that going to start to look like? And I think some of the things that we talked about today about, like, what is our org structure going to look like? How is work going to get distributed? And let's really think about, let's not be afraid to reimagine how we do stuff.
Have you thought about what jobs are going to look like in the next 2 to 5 years?
We thought a lot about it. I thought a lot about it. Yeah. And I actually think there's an opportunity. I actually don't think a lot of people think this is a scary time and that it's going to take jobs away. I don't think that's true at all. I mean, like I said yesterday, human beings are still going to have jobs. We still need people to do things, but what they're going to be doing is different. How they're going to be doing it is different. And we don't even know yet what that's going to look like. But I think people are going to be empowered to be more strategic, more contributionist. And I think people's jobs are going to be more fun.
I think the concept of a job is going to be different. I can only picture the next 2 years. So let's go on a 2-year journey. And if you listen to my podcast, you've heard me say this before, and you're going to hear me say it a lot more in the future. I'm a big fan and an advocate for what I'm calling the legal forward deployed engineer.
Yep.
Right. That's somebody who's going to be embedded in the messy situation, whatever that is. And let's just take it legal, because it works elsewhere and everywhere. But let's just make it. And Palantir made this famous. So if you're curious and you're listening, it's like Palantir, forward deployed engineer. What is it? How does it work? How does he or she work? But I'll give you the core 4. 1, you're embedded. 2, you bridge, right?
Correct.
Between, he or she, where's the challenge and where's the solution? You're the bridge there. And then you become a builder.
Yep.
Now you're building and you're gritty, because you got to stick with it. And that's not easy. And the conventional thinking is like, well, I don't really want to do that. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you want to or not.
Right.
It's sort of like if you don't go to grad school, you don't get an MBA. If you don't get an MBA, you don't go to McKinsey. And if you don't get a McKinsey, you can't be in consulting. It's like one of those things. Like, this is the single most important year in your career, I think. 2026 is the most important year in your career, and you got to double down. Whether you've got kids, a dog, a cat, or not, you have got to double down. What's your hardcore? Tell me like it is.
Yeah, I think people are gonna. Yeah, you're gonna need to. People in the legal department are gonna need to understand the business better. Because they're gonna be. You talk about forward deployed. One of the things that the legal departments have tried to do for so long is, hey, I want my legal team as embedded in your legal leadership team.
There's embedded.
So, hey, I want you product leader to invite your lawyers to all of your product meetings.
Yes.
And the product leader don't want to do that because the language is a little different. What the lawyer is doing is a little different. But now they don't have to do that. They don't necessarily have to invite them to the team. With technology, with the way information is coming in, that lawyer can get all the information that they need and add value so that what we always want is the product leader to ask for the lawyer to come. And now you can give more value. You're not just doing the, hey, I need to know what this thing is or what this line is or that line is. You can see that work is being done for you. That kind of mundane kind of work that the lawyer needs to do their job is being done for them. The information is being fed to them in other ways. And now I can show up ready to make strategic contributions because our best lawyers have perspective about the business and they have broader experiences, have seen things gone wrong, have seen things like their job is to understand risk. Their job is to understand what goes wrong, but their job is to also see what has gone right in the past too, and what can predict what can go right in the future. And that makes them more strategic, more valuable as they sit around the table with the leaders.
Well, they become able to live up to their potential.
Yes.
Right. So the great unlock here, right, that I've come away with from my 2 days is that lawyers move away rapidly, much more rapidly than I thought, more rapidly than eagles. Their courses they flew, more rapidly than I had thought possible, and they move away from the reactive into the proactive. And I want to be more proactive. I don't want to be in the reactive business if I went to top law school and I've spent all of these years. So I move away from the reactive because that's being done.
Well, let me stop on that. When you went to that top law school, you were taught to be reactive.
Absolutely.
And that was your job. Your job was a problem happens, it comes to you, you help fix it. This mixes up that model. This changes the way you start to think about it, and it allows you to think proactively.
I'm thinking about, yes, I agree with that. I'm thinking about the macro workforce, so I'm taking the intellectual horsepower of lawyers, very generally speaking, all right? So nobody shoot me here. But I'm talking about the massive number, like, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 lawyers that are working in corporate America. There's an intellectual horsepower there. Most of these, went to a liberal arts undergraduate school. They were thought to think critically. Oh, wait, critical thinking is one of the core competencies that we're going to need going into the future. Can you ask questions? What's your foundational training, reading, writing, arithmetic, etc. So you've got a liberal arts background. You're thinking outside the box, whether it was history or political science or fill in the blank. But here we go now. We're going to unlock you from the mundane, right, of just being, let me pull you off the shelf and, when I need you. And now you're proactive and you're sitting in the business 6 months, 12 months, 18, 24 months. That's the AI dividend.
Yep.
The AI dividend is I'm unchained from my desk. I'm unchained from answering mundane questions, and I'm free and available to be proactive with the business. The next thing you know, you unleash this workforce, and they're going to start being not only proactive, strategic.
Yes.
And seeing around the corner of what's possible, because these are wicked smart people.
Right. They're wicked smart people who have been trained in a particular way to see around those corners
Yes.
in a way that an engineer or that a finance person or that whatever has not been trained to see around those corners.
Also wicked smart people.
Wicked smart people doing what they're wicked smart good at. And what these folks are wicked smart good at is seeing around the corners.
Yes.
What's the risk? What's the chance? And also what are the opportunities?
Well, and they've never been able to do that before.
Yeah.
We're letting them out of the basement.
Yeah.
Like legal's been in the basement. Legal's been in the basement.
Yeah, it has been.
Although it's had a really nice high floor in the tower. It's had a great view, but I mean, seriously, the work has been basement.
Well, let me say, I'm going to put it a little bit differently. It's not that they've been in the basement, but they haven't been in the main room. They've been outside the main room. They're sitting just outside the main room.
Are we going to have a Hamilton moment? I want to be in the room where it happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's close on favorite authors. Mike Maples is here. Pattern Breakers. Have you had a chance to meet him and or read the book?
Yes.
Thoughts?
Absolutely.
I'm
fantastic.
I don't know.
Such a fan.
I'm a huge fan. I sat next to him at dinner last night.
Yeah.
He riffed. I mean, I felt like I was talking to a combination of Mike Maples, Clayton Christensen, John Doerr, who wrote OKRs, Measure What Matters, and it was fascinating.
Yeah.
It was like sitting in a Harvard business class.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to sit with him at all?
I absolutely have. Yeah.
I'm gushing
Actually
here.
have.
I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
this is
yeah. It's worth gushing about. It's
just
absolutely
kinda-
worth gushing
right?
about. Yeah.
He was riffing about David Deutsch. I'm totally nerding out now, right? So if you want to turn the podcast off right now, you can go. Like, if you've heard everything else from here is just a total nerd out on
Yeah.
on Mike Maples and Pattern Breakers. And if you haven't read it, I'm going to do the commercial.
Pattern Breakers is so it's absolutely fantastic, and it makes you think about how things get, how the world moves forward, and
Yeah.
it's really, and it helps you think, it helps you challenge yourself to be a pattern breaker.
How this world moves forward now.
Yes,
I
exactly.
think it always has. I mean, same as it ever was. But, it puts things in perspective now of like, who are you going to follow? Why are you going to follow them?
It sharpens the perspective.
It sharpens who you want to follow and who you want to test drive or, get into a car and go for a ride with all of this technology that's out there. There are 1,000 legal tech
That's exactly right.
companies out there right now. And obviously we've got the core 4 and the next 3, and it's who do you want? But I want to talk to people who are living in the future, have co-conspirators,
Yep.
like you've helped to co-create what they're doing here at UD. And this is not a UD commercial. I mean, Chick, you go to Harvey, go to Legora, go to
Right.
UD, go to, co-counsel. I mean, take them all for a test drive, but there's a bright difference.
Yes. Yeah, I think that this concept of co-creation, which is something that we kind of worked on, at ServiceNow, we created our own product, and it was co-creation between us and the product team. And that really opened my eyes to what can be done. And it helps to create that. I think that's absolutely critical in creating products that are going to actually be used by people.
So I'm going to ask you one last question. I'm going to ask you for a favor and a question. Would you do me a favor and introduce me to Rob Beard at Coherent? Because I think he's another one of those risk takers. I heard yesterday he's a motorcycle rider.
I heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, so that's a guy who knows how to manage risk and operations. So if you'd introduce me to him, because I'd love to get him on the podcast. And if you were me, besides you and besides Rob, who would you interview next and reach out to and say, I'd love to talk to you about where we are, where we're going, and what's next?
You know what? Actually, so she was here. Carrie McLean has been doing some really interesting things at Intuit.
From Intuit, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Intuit itself has been doing some really interesting things. They've been like, as they think about their technology, as they think about how they're reinventing themselves as a whole, not only like all parts of it are doing some really exciting things.
So you heard it here first. Rob Beard and Carrie.
Yeah.
Russ would like to hear you on the pod. Wants to know what you're thinking and your next up.
All right.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much.
You bet. If you enjoyed this show, be sure to give us a like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your shows. And if you want to take your career from now to next, never eat alone.